So this is on the impact of school closures due to COVID-19. The COVID-19 pandemic has had profound impact on people around the world, affecting their daily lives in ways were unimaginable just months before. One of the largest impacts COVID-19 has had on people's daily lives is that schools around the world are closed. In China alone, over 300 million students had to stop going to school as part of the effects to slow the spread of the virus. Schools in many Indian states have closed, including three ones I can't pronounce. Many European countries have announced school closures, including France, Belgium, and Germany. And in the United States, dozens of states have closed school indefinitely, with some school districts saying that they will not reopen for the rest of the academic year. Clearly, such widespread and lasting school closures have an enormous impact for billions of people, not just for the students, but their families as well. And these closures are not just impacting people's daily schedules, and also having profound financial impacts as well. The short-term financial impacts are already being felt, but long-term financial impacts are just as important. So what are these short-term impacts? Probably the most substantial short-term financial impact for many school closures is that parents are having to figure out how to adjust to not being able to send their kids to school for most of the day. This is especially affecting families with children too young to be left home alone. For these families, parents have to figure out how to stay home with their children every single day of the week. This is even more difficult for working families who do not have the option of working from home or taking extended paid leaves from their jobs. Often these parents are having to take unpaid time off from work to stay home and watch their children. Even for those who are able to work, many are finding it challenging to maintain the same number of work hours they typically work and struggle for having to care for their children. The result is that this crisis is having an even more adverse financial impact on families who can least afford the financial strain. Some governments are trying to help with this problem. Japan is offering subsidies to companies to help offset the cost of letting parents take time off. But despite these efforts, millions of people globally are finding school closures leading to less and less income. Another financial implication of not being able to send children to school is that many children receive free or subsidized food at their school. So many more parents and stuff are having it's a financial burden because now they don't have free lunch at school. They have to provide that lunch every single day, and this is kind of unexpected. So they weren't really expecting to have to do this so soon. But what are the long-term impacts? Well, the short-term financial impacts of global school closures are already significant. The long-term impacts are potentially even more significant. For families without the option to work from home, having to stay home with children for months and on end may very well lead to the job loss for many. These same families will have to draw from their savings to sustain themselves. But they are most likely also working families who have the least savings to withdraw. There are also potential long-term financial impacts for the children missing school as well. Missing months of school is never good for a child's education, but it can also lead to them falling behind where they should be in school. In certain cases, this may lead to delayed starts to universal studies and lower grades, and so less scholarship opportunities. So this is interesting to me. I actually saw on Facebook, there was a page that someone was talking about how this group of kids may actually be, instead of being delayed, be better, like more advanced, because now they actually, I forgot exactly how it's worded, but they had to learn how to use the technology. So they have this advanced knowledge that they didn't have before. They had to utilize problem-solving skills in order to facilitate the new learning. They had to learn new coping skills and mechanize mental health and utilize mental health a lot more than previous, which I like the idea of trying to turn it into a somewhat positive. They could learn a lot of skills now, even with everything going on. But that's all I really have. Thank you.